Hello and welcome to another episode of the DewatchPod. I am Jorgen Smorgasbord.
And I am Jim with a G, and we're here to begin to say our final goodbyes to our little intermission season of Love, Death, Robots.
Yeah, or not that little intermission season of Love, Death, Robots.
I guess it ended up being 10 episodes, right? 2 from each of the last 3 seasons and then 4 from this one.
I think that's more than at least some of the Star Treks got.
Really?
I think Stranger New Worlds is like maybe tied in the end or something. Not that far at least.
I suppose that's true, but it is also very close to our specialty as anthology podcasters.
Yeah.
So today, what have we watched, dear Jorgen?
Zima Blue.
That's right. Season 1 of Love, Death, Robots. Coming up with some weird shit.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can start summarizing it without finishing summarizing it.
Yeah.
So,
would we recommend this episode?
I would.
Yeah.
I think this is one of my favorite Love, Death, Robots episodes.
I wouldn't speak that hard in favor of it.
That's fine. No, I figured you would be more skeptical of it. But I quite like it.
Yeah. And we do have content warnings on this one, as usual, such as suicide.
And body modification.
See, but you don't always get the hard ones.
That's true. This one, I mean, like, in general, I would say both of these have, like, little, like, hey, mild versions of both of these, I would claim.
And that's it. We can dive into the summary, which this is a 10-minute like runtime episode, which is like it's like 8 minutes of actual episode or something.
Yeah, it's also almost pure exposition.
Yeah. Delivered through narration. With
a journalist.
With like a montage. Yeah, we start with a journalist giving us the first half of the exposition, which is the history of an artist named Zima, who started doing art, doing ever more sort of large art, moving from portraiture to like trying to capture the cosmos, and then a motif starts taking over his art, which is
a square of blue, just smack dab in the middle of painting, which then with each upcoming mural just becomes bigger and bigger. The shape changes a little bit, but eventually it starts taking up like...
Yeah, and it's the whole mural quite quickly, after which we move on to like this clearly like an extremely post-scarcity society.
Yes.
Which shows in that Zima is like, all right, I'm gonna paint like half a planet blue for this one.
Yeah, we get little shots of asteroid belts being painted blue. Like it started like he got big about it, and it's like a city background mural being blue, and then he's like, and then he got bigger about it, and it just escalates at least to the planetary level.
Yeah, and he is, entertainingly enough, residing on a water planet. I figured it was like maybe one of the moons of Saturn or Jupiter. But it seems like this is a far more interplanetary civilization.
And he has invited
to suggest that.
And he has invited this journalist for like the first interview in what seems to be like a little bit of a reclusive period. And when he shows up at
100 years reclusive period.
Oh, was that it? I think I missed that part. And when he reappears to be like, hey, let's have a chat. He is, I want to say 9 feet tall-ish.
And something like that. Quite triangular. And he's made himself into a robot man.
Yeah, fully replaced the man he once was with mechanical parts.
Yeah, to experience the universe up close.
Become an extremophile like bacteria.
Yeah.
You should have just gone the bacterial route.
Like wade in lava, experience the vacuum of space. And as he tells it, like he was trying to capture the universe until he realized that the universe was already like the art to him, in his view. And then he finally sort of turns his gaze inward And this is where we hit the sort of final stretch and like only twist of the episode, which is his personal history, which began as a little robot.
A little pool cleaning robot
Yeah.
specifically. He had a nice lady who made him and was like, I'm gonna make this pool cleaning robot smarter and smarter.
Yeah, and sort of like over a couple of generations as a hand me down that keeps getting like a little bit enhanced, he becomes this tall and handsome lad.
Yeah, it's interesting because the journalist mentions like, no, you're not a machine that thinks it's a man. You're a man who became a machine, and he's like, girl, I don't know. At this point, I have no idea. So like, I actually think it's ambiguous whether he fully became a human or if she was just like misinformed and they never like checked. You know, like
Mm,
was he an android for a while? Like was he actually fleshy? Who knows?
yeah. Like there's some difficulties with memory, which there would be over the clearly like quite epochal time span that he has lived. And
He reveals the origin of the Zima Blue square, which were the
yes.
tiles in the little pool he was made to clean.
Yeah, and fittingly, he is building a swimming pool now in this new place.
Yeah.
And
Digging out the same swimming pool, they actually even said.
that's right. That's right. He got the swimming pool excavated and moved, which is like a swimming pool is like in large part an absence.
Yes.
You know, it's a hole. Like it's a very funny concept to be like, yes, I am moving this hole.
I recreated the exact same donut hole that I first experienced as a baker.
Yeah, no, we moved the well over here, and now it's the same well.
So somewhere like a philosopher is like, but what do you mean?
And his final exhibition is in front of like a massive roaring crowd.
Yeah, because he's like a god artist in this
Yeah,
world.
yeah, no, he's like he is like he's like presumably like living art history.
Yeah.
It's like if Michelangelo was like, all right, gang, I've got some new stuff I've been working on.
I'm showing up at the Met and like, I will sell a couple of seats, I suppose.
And he goes for a swim and he shuts himself down, all his higher function and so on and so forth, until finally he has reduced himself to that as which he began, which is the little pool cleaning robot.
And curtains close.
Yeah.
It's, one must always criticize, tell, don't show.
Yeah.
But I like, in comparison to some other shows we watched, they do at least like use the screen time extremely efficiently.
Yeah, no, you get dinged for
full exposition.
Full 100% exposition. You do get points back for just like short runtime, right?
Yeah, there's this strange clash to me because I quite like this animation style as well. And it's very pretty and they do a lot of good stuff with it. But they're also doing it with the narration constantly on.
Yeah.
Like I think it's if someone's very bored right now, I want you to go watch Zima Blue and like try to time the longest instance without anyone speaking in narration. Like I would give it like 10 seconds at most, maybe at the end there. But still, I think it's a fun little thing. It's very compact. It tells a little story.
And like the narration and the image are like working together as opposed to just like one sort of accompanying. So like it is like even more compact in that sense.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just like wasting your time, like occupying your time visually while you're receiving narrations. It is complementary.
Yeah, this much is true. I think you could speak a little bit to the efficiency of that complementarity, but like there isn't a point where I go like, why are you showing me this?
Exactly. Like you are sort of experiencing the thing quite, and like these are like genuinely like beautiful visualizations,
yes.
Right?
I think also like I think it's fundamentally extremely hard to create art about art, right? Like you know how many like novels that are either like horror or drama or thrillers in some way that are like, now the protagonist is a writer, and the cool thing is that he's super good at writing. He just has writer's block right now. um
Yeah.
and the benefit there is that they never show the writing, and if
Yeah.
they do, it's very unfortunate.
But if you're working in a visual medium and you're having a visual artist,
Yes.
you run into what I'm going to call the pulp fiction conundrum, which is, do you show the thing or not?
Yeah.
And they have come down in Zima Blue on, we're going to show the thing, and we're going to put our back into it.
Yeah, like the murals that he paints are really cool.
Yeah.
Right, like some of it is of course like the shorthand of like, we're viewing it through animation and it's like grand.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so I'm sure if you were more discerning than you or I, then perhaps you could find fault with it. But like I immediately go like, yeah, that's really cool. Like
for sure.
That's a painting I would have in my home, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, no, what do we... It's a fairly simple episode, right, in what it's saying. On the one hand, we have the sort of like the universe speaks for itself angle, and on the other hand, we have the like you cannot be an observer, like to like, I think it's mainly like about the inability to be like an observer, like outside the thing that you're
I see what
depicting.
you're getting at, but I actually think I would phrase it differently. Have you ever followed an artist for like a while, like over time?
I think so, but mostly musicians.
Music is probably harder, though I imagine you could probably do it there as well. But like, there are times where you start going like, okay, like this person is interested in these things, but also this one element that doesn't seem relevant keeps popping up. Just like, you guys do seem to put incest in every story you write, or something like that, right? And
yeah, George.
It's not just George. I think incest is probably more common as one of these traits than you might think.
Yeah, Homer.
Sure, there we go. That's right. We're for all different categories of culture. Ancient Greek myth, check. Modern pop history, or pop culture, check.
That's right.
But like, I think this is one of those things where they go like, where does that come from? And we don't. In the vast majority, I guess another one. If you want to be equally base, we can talk about Tarantino and feet, right?
Yeah.
And you're always like, I wonder why that keeps showing up,
Mm.
And most of the time, you're not gonna get an answer, right? You're not gonna get like, well, in this interview, Tarantino did say he got kicked a lot as a child or something like that. And so this one kind of like poses the like, hey, sometimes in your like artistic career, you will develop an obsession, and I promise you, dude, it's just you. You are alone in this little obsession. Like, you are not discovering the universe. You had a formative experience at some point, or just kind of latched onto something, and everyone else is like starting to notice, and they're asking, but like, okay, but why? I
guess there is also the quite funny corollary, which is to like, it's not that deep. This artist is transgender.
That is another common one, I would say.
Right, where it's like, yeah, no, this is a theme because, and it's a very common theme that a lot of people experience making art.
Yeah, like that's the thing, is I think you could find this about anyone if you looked hard enough. Like, yes, don't get me wrong, there are people who will be like, here's one. David Cage will never not put a pissing scene in his games, That must always be in there. I think it is in every single one.
Didn't know that.
It's just a thing, and you're always like, that's because if you're saying like, oh, I'm like a horror writer, then it's like, yeah, some things are gonna show up because that's the genre you're writing in. But these little like auxiliary things I find genuinely really fascinating. And like, this one, I suppose, posits not necessarily that there's meaning to it, but like that there's a reason it occurred.
Yeah.
And like, again, the unfortunate corollary is that we will not get confirmation of this from the vast majority of real life people, right? But it's It is interesting to posit like maybe there is one, and maybe that's not that meaningful.
Yeah, I think it that is sort of the thing, right? Like revealing the mystery does sort of like in retrospect really undermine like the enigma
Yeah.
that like sort of powers the stuff where you're like, ah, what does it mean? I can bring my own meaning to it. It's a pool tile. Fuck.
Like it's like I have and it is also like I think it only becomes a mystery when it's someone prominent, right?
Yeah.
Like for the most part we don't overcomplicate that. Like I've my players in my like RPG campaigns have noticed like Jim is bringing out the insects in the campaign. It's time for a horror session, and I go like, oh yeah, I have never thought about that, but you have gotten me. You have unfortunately gotten me in the marketplace of ideas. And that one is just kind of straightforward. I'm scared of insects. So I immediately go like, yeah, there's nothing like more obviously, signaling that something's fucked up in there than there's like a couple of cockroaches, man.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever been gotten in that way. I am a bit better about keeping the curtain high.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, subject to change, of
Okay.
course.
I unfortunately, I'm sad I can't analyze that for you.
Yeah, no, I mean, we'll see. Uh, but yeah, no, I think the other thing though that I am like sort of still swirling about because like yes, that is like half of it, right?
Hmm.
Um, but then there's also like the element of sort of the simple pleasures.
Yes.
And that's what I'm sort of chewing on. Because going like, oh yeah, no, like the universe does not need depicting. I can become a pool bot again. Right? Like I'm trying to like grasp that chain of logic and it is slippery to me.
I see what you mean. Yeah. Like, I think it's, in one way, I almost want to say, like, it kind of correlates to the, like, general discussion of, like, it's not that complex, man.
Mm,
You just have a fed and that sort of vibe. But like I think there's like it's an interesting pitch.
mm.
I read between the lines, just like both in the just the narration and the sort of visual storytelling. It kind of comes up to me that like Zima did not get much satisfaction out of like exploring the universe.
Mm.
Do you see what I mean here?
Yeah.
Like I get that it was like hey, you seem really depressed and like you're not like getting anywhere in your life. You should like go to like Myanmar, become a Buddhist monk for a like month. And then they do that and they're like, okay, I have now done that. I have not gotten anywhere. And you have to go back home. It's like, maybe I just need a new job.
I do have a friend who went to a silent retreat and had that experience.
Like, I think that's genuine. Like there are these, and I think this is especially true in literature, right? That there are these like codified. Hey, here's how you find
Yeah.
meaning in your life, and like there. I think that's pure survivorship bias, man. Some people are built to sit in like a monastery and pray to God for 12 hours a day, and they're having the time of their life.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't. And when you try to do that thing, they're gonna go, "This sucked." And like, I'm not gonna tell people I've been a monk for 30 years in this like fucking Franciscan monastery. I'm not telling people it didn't work out for me.
I mean, it's an aesthetic too, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like the aesthetic of like finding
yeah.
meaning and like it is like a performance for an audience
Yes.
like in part. And like that's not to say that it's insincere from like a portion of the people. Um but I think it's sort of maybe to a degree unduly monopolizing like the authority of going like, yeah, no, I know what's going on. You know,
Yeah.
I've found peace. Like you found a feeling, right? You found a procedure that like gets you there. But you don't have like the universal answer. Because like you can't just go there and go like that doesn't work for me. I think the things that I'm experiencing are quite mundanely understandable and do not quite require this apparatus.
I think that's one thing. Like I remember like growing up, I feel like the equivalent to like doing the monastery retreat in like Southeast Asia was like go backpacking throughout Europe. Like
Mm,
start jumping on trains and just like having a little youth hostel experience in other
yeah,
countries. And also like I think this is such a like a broad thing because like everyone wants meaning,
yeah,
but I think it's just completely non-transferable. Like I
for
was thinking
sure.
about that as well in the context of like parenting, right? Like for a
Mm,
lot of people, being a parent is insanely like meaningful, like one of the most important things they've ever done in life. But like occasionally you will get someone who was convinced by that and they're like 45 and have 3 kids and they go like, "Oh, this didn't get me there.
yeah.
And now I brought 3 people into the world." Like and there's different consequences for all of these levels. But I also feel like on some level, I don't know if this is just completely illusory, but there's a part of me that wonders that like as so much work begins to grow increasingly like dissociated and alienated,
Mm,
I wonder if we're ramping up the like, you know, that search. Because I feel like there was a
yeah,
time when there was like a do some drugs and it'll be fine. Like you'll just have like a little bit of catharsis and you'll be good.
yeah.
That probably also didn't work for most people, to be clear. Um, and for those people who did work for, probably became extremely annoying, but spiritually satisfied on some level. And then you started being like, well, you need to travel, you need to take in the world, and at some point, like we're living through like a minor like revival of religion, right?
Mm.
In the West, in
At
some places.
least like an uptrend.
Yeah, yeah.
And I use the word trend very deliberately.
Yeah, that's a fair point. There's a part of me that wonders, like, is this like just sort of like a reaction to that? And like, is it going somewhere? And if
No.
so, are we eventually gonna be the like, you need to go to Mars, man? And eventually we end up with Zima.
I mean, like there's like different levels here, right? You do just like have societal cycles where it's like, oh yeah, no, we're not religious enough anymore, man.
Yeah. We
And
don't interact with our fellow man enough. We need
and
to get
you just like have like I think America is like most clockwork about this, where it's like time for like sort of in the tradition of Britain as well, where it's like time for another great awakening.
well
Time
yeah.
that went really badly. We should act normal. I know everyone's kind of profane. It could fix this. A great awakening.
I feel like the US is such a perfect breeding ground for this with a combination of like just naturally high religiosity and
Naturally, because there is no state support, so you need to cling to something.
yeah.
As Marx puts it, with the opiate of the masses.
Well, there you go.
You're sorry.
No, that's more or less where I was going, man.
Yeah.
Like another podcast hits marks.
Yeah, we've been here before, I
We
reckon.
haven't. But like I do wonder if this is on some level like that sort of let's call it a fallacy for the moment at least. Where
Hmm?
you just kind of like stage it up until eventually you're like, I need to reshape my entire body and explore the cosmos, and then you go like, fuck. Year 300 of traversing the galaxies. Still haven't gotten there.
I mean, like, we never get the impression of Zima as like failing at any step, right? Like
Hmm.
they're all like artistically productive.
I suppose.
And like I I'm not under the impression that like sort of making peace with the fact that the cosmos doesn't really need you to depict it. Um like I don't think that's like a downfall,
Hmm.
right? Like I do think there is something different going on here.
I do also think there is a point to be made that like searching for meaning doesn't need to be a failure just because you didn't find it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, so on some level, like method of exclusion is pretty good.
Yeah, no, and I do think like the the idea that I am sort of like getting as well is that there is like sort of an effort to like take the whole thing in and just like making peace with the futility of that in like a very extreme way.
Hmm.
And I think that's meaningful. That's like, yeah, no, like you you can only go so far.
I suppose the other thing that we've been missing as Marcel is the point of Seema being an artist, right?
Mm,
Because we, in this household, We discuss engineer's disease often, you know, just this like position that like I'm good at one thing.
I'm good at everything.
I can transfer this exact methodology to every other field.
Yeah, I can code, therefore I can translate.
And I feel like this is also like to a lesser extent, but I wonder if some artists do kind of experience it like, hey, I really managed to bring forth the meaning of this like isolated area. Maybe I can find the meaning of life. Like just hop on there. Get at it. You know? I think there are some artists who are like that. And I think they probably do less damage to the world than the engineers currently destroying our society, but you
Yeah.
know, I do think it is probably a fairly similar disease and a related pathology.
Yeah. No, it's but do you think Zima is that?
To some extent. Like
Interesting.
I don't know why you need to tackle representing all of the cosmos in the first place.
I guess there is like Zima does just like feel the burden out, like it is just like looking for something outside while it's inside all along, right?
Yeah.
That's more or less like what's going on here.
Oh, I'm feeling anxiety. Must be something wrong with reality itself.
Yeah, and just going like, all right, that didn't work. Time to turn inward.
Yeah, like there is a group of people who are, you know, fundamentally bothered by like a lack of meaning in their lives, right?
Yeah.
But there is also a lot of people who are like quick to search for the high level functions when they're like, maybe you need to sleep and eat a bit better.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what's interesting to me is, right, because like every now and then like the to find like a very close corollary
Mm.
to like part of the core of the story here is Citizen Kane, right? It's like a are you, how familiar are you with Citizen Kane? Maybe I
I'm
should explain for the listener.
I'm very
um
familiar.
Citizen Kane is fundamentally about a man who is basically driven to both greatness and despair, and also great failure, um, by like a like fundamental lack of something within, right?
Mm.
Um, and he goes through his entire life sort of like chasing, right? He's a seeker in a way that's quite similar to Zima, if you abstract hard enough. And like he comes around to going like, ah, fuck. Um, I've been seeking outward when I should have been seeking inward.
Mm.
And like in Citizen Kane, it's a quite destructive quest.
Yeah.
Whereas in Zima Blue, it's a quite productive quest, and unlike Citizen Kane, like he gets there, right? He's
Yeah.
like he finishes the search, and he's like, all right, peace, logging off. And I think, right, I think like this is just like a very like common way to like do like fairly compelling villains, to go like, yeah, no, they have an inside problem that they're externalizing, and
Yeah.
isn't that exciting? And with Zima, it's like, yeah, no, he has an inside problem that he is externalizing, and that is exciting. And then he gets there, right? And that's not really a story we often tell.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. It strikes me as well that like the final revelation on some level is that he used to be happy, right?
Yeah.
In a very base sense. Like that's the thing I keep thinking of like when you talk about like the fundamental lack of something, is that that fundamental lack developed not out of trauma, right? Which I think would be the
Yeah.
typical storyline to tell. But yeah, he doesn't say it, but like all of the visual language and the way he talks about like, oh yeah, I used to be a pool cleaning robot to this really nice lady just sounds kind of lovely,
Mm,
you know? And that strikes me as like such an interesting motivator in comparison to
mm.
like I didn't get a thing and I'm searching for it, to like I had that thing and then I thought I wanted something else and I explored all of the universe and then came back to the pool cleaning robot.
Yeah. Like what strikes me about it a little bit, that like like makes sense for like the arc, but I
Mm.
think like undercuts it a little bit as like a story is going is that it is like essentially suicide for him to like
Yeah.
go back. And that's not, and if you were to translate this to a real person, like I don't think the message you're trying to give is like, hey, um once you find that thing, flip the switch off.
Well,
Right?
I think
It's
it's actually even slightly weirder than suicide, right? It's hit me with the lobotomy.
yeah.
Shank off my frontal lobe.
And like that's not really like a sensible thing to take away from it. So like it does it's just too neat a bow to tie over it, right? Because at the end of the day, like when we sort of reach a like place of conclusion,
Mm.
like we tend to like stay there for a bit and then become restless.
Mm.
um and like depending like that like momentary feeling of peace can be like really short if you get it at all. um
Round two of the lap around the pool. No, this wasn't it either. Damn it.
right, and I think like eliding that like very human impulse like sort of makes sense with like the character literally not being human,
Mm.
but just like um making peace with something like quite different, but like it doesn't translate that easily.
Well, I do think you have to view it as a bit more metaphorical in my
Yeah.
mind, like because I think you could just take it as like this is not suicide in a literal
Hmm.
sense. This is a rejection of the complexities you have taken upon yourself,
Yeah.
right? Like that's one way to view it. I think like the alternative too is just like there's a lot of metaphorical interpretations you
Hmm.
could make of it, but I also think like on some level it is just being like, hey, this phase of my life kind of sucked, and I'm flipping a reset button. Not
Yeah.
on life itself, but being like, I've tried being the artist now, I've been insanely
Hmm.
famous. Fuck that. I'm out, you know?
Yeah.
I'm faking my own death and living in the Amazon.
Yeah, no, but I think that is sort of like where it falls a bit short for me because like I don't really like I believe in like making a change, but I don't think I believe in like escaping complexity.
Hmm.
Right? Like you can you can put it to the side, right? Like that is a very sensible thing to do in our very noisy world. It's
Hmm.
like you put a lot of it to the side and you focus on something that is like tangible and feasible to like get a grip on. Right? Nobody does this, and it is one of the most effective strategies, like for instance, to big political change.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it's very rarely done, and it's very effective when it is. Um, so like right there is something to that, but like it's not like in isolation. It's rather like um it's like it's more difficult to like achieve and maintain like in reality rather than like flipping the switch.
I
And
think
like
you
you have to remain with the tension, right? And you have to like maintain that state.
I think you could make a somewhat bad faith reading of this story
Mm.
as being like return
Mm.
stuff, about like we should go back to living on
Mm.
farms.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like to me, I guess I have to read it more as a sort of like for some people it's gonna work to focus more on like the very basics. And
Yeah.
like that's a satisfying life and that's okay. For some people it might not be. Like I don't know. I guess for me, I am inclined to read this as a highly individualistic story.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with what you're saying, and I think for most people it wouldn't work. But I also think that's kind of like a part of the point of the story is that nothing works for most people
Mm.
apart from like breathing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think I can fully get around to like rejecting complexity.
And it's fair enough.
um but like I can appreciate like the the sentiment nonetheless.
Mm. I think also there's a lens from which you can view this as being like just shedding certain societal expectations, right? being like, you need to be this great artist and stuff, and
Yeah.
what you actually want to do is
Now
food cleaning robot.
that actually lands a lot better for me. Yeah.
Right? Like I think there is a point there. Like much in the same way we're talking about like these culturally codified ways of finding meaning and being like, nah, dude, like I get real spiritually satisfied when I flip a good hamburger. You know, like for some people that's their journey.
Yeah, no, like it is like what it is like a great rejection of the audience, right?
Mm.
Like at the end of the day. Because like there is like it is very literally like the sort of like man elements of the machine like fall away
Yeah.
and like sort of only the core remains, and it is like a big middle finger to like this mass of people who have like assembled for
And
like this big return, and
and
he's like, I need you to fuck off.
and I've only ever known him as he is now, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the secret story he's telling to this journalist. There's that like tension that like everyone else is seeing a very weird suicide,
Mm.
right? Like she knows that this is him returning to like an earlier stage of his development, essentially.
Yeah.
But everyone is like, "Oh my god, he ripped himself apart."
Yeah.
There's a part of me that's like, I didn't think it would add to the episode, but a part of me is like, what happens after this? Like, do they sit there and like look at this for a bit? Do they leave? Like, what is it like to just be like, oh, someone has concluded their personal journey right in front of me, and I have no idea what the fuck is going on?
I think like the sort of like obvious like end game is that like everyone sort of like gets mad, moves on to a different thing, and like one person like lingers and goes like, ah, I think I do understand what happened here, right? That is sort of like the way these stories kind of go, where it's like, oh yeah, no, like the people don't get it, but like there's the few.
Yeah.
And it sounds a bit trite when I put it like that,
Yeah.
and it sort of is, and that's probably why they didn't do it.
Yeah. Love inventing new parts of a story to make fun of.
Yeah, no, like I think it's a good point to cut it, right? Because
Yeah.
like you do have to comment on the audience if you don't, because like
Yeah.
we're in the audience.
I also think it's like there's a little bit of a rejection of the journalist in a certain
Mm.
sense of like, hey, you know my story, but also like you're also getting fucked off a bit here, with all due respect, right? Like there's like you may know, but like that's not changing much.
Mm.
I think the fact that she's made so unimportant by the narrative is quite interesting.
Yeah. No, I mean she does just like hand the baton.
Yeah, we're having distractions.
The
The podcast is dreaming to our side.
podcast is having a very nice little nap. But yeah, no, I do think that is sort of I think that's all on my mind about this episode.
It's almost strange to me to have a Love Death Robots episode that, like, to me, Zima Blue would place. You know the tier list we did for
Mm.
uh Black Mirror
Yeah.
of their like cohesiveness and such.
Missed potential
Yeah, I think this one places quite well.
in terms of having done its thing
Yeah,
correctly.
I
Yeah,
think so.
absolutely.
And it must be said, it is impressive for such a short episode.
Mm.
Now, they could probably have delivered some things differently. But like I also don't I like it is one of those things where it's strange, right? Because on one hand you have a very short period of time to deliver the story. But also like to me, when you have a very short period of time to deliver the story, exposition actually should be kept quite short typically.
Mm.
You know?
I think there is an element to this where showing is more expensive than telling.
This is true.
So like I do
Unquestionably.
think they were like being economical as well,
I
right?
love
Because like this doesn't appear to be like a cheap and efficient style of animation. Like it's stylized to the bone.
it's also like if I think if you look at quite large parts of the episode, it's a lot of stills or
Yeah.
near stills, which are beautiful. but also quite expensive.
Yeah. Wait, you think?
Well, I mean, like, the still part is what's making it cheaper. But like, as you say, like, the style of animation is probably quite time consuming to do.
Yeah, no, I think they probably did this on like a relatively small budget.
Yeah, I think so too. And it works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, that was our final episode of Love, Death, Robots as we move on towards our recap episode next week.
Indeed. And with that, we will
see you on the other side.
Cheers.